Welcome to Beyond the Buzzer, where real hoop stories get the spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Wethers, former Division I athlete and overseas pro. Each week, I sit down with players, coaches, and grinders who lived the game but didn't always reach the dream. From college standouts to overseas warriors, this is where we unpack the truth. Behind the journey, the highs, the lows, the heartbreak, and life after the final buzzer.
He's on his way, he's about to get paid, he's on his way to Hollywood. He's on his way, he's about to get paid, he's on his way to Hollywood. Show him the way, he's about to get paid.
Welcome back to this week's show, Beyond the Buzzer. We have a very special guest. I'm excited, a friend of mine from college. But before I announce him, let's see if you could take a look and know who he is from these highlights.
I do not care. I care about them. I learned something from a professor of mine. It was when I graduated from Fresno Pacific. After I got done a little basketball stint, I did basketball for 9 years, traveled the world. Quentin Kennison told me, pass the baton. And so now I carry that into this job, and that's why I love it, because I can pass the baton. Not every single kid will catch it, but when they do catch it, it's pretty cool. And they can carry it and hopefully do the same for the next person.
All right, we'd like to welcome to the show Mr. Gabriel Hughes. Gabe, thank you for tuning in this week. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How you doing?
Good, man. Good to see you, Dub. I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me. So my name is Gabriel Hughes. I played basketball with this phenomenal young man. Say young man, call him an old man.
Teammates.
Yeah, UC Berkeley.
Yes.
Excuse me. 4 years at Cal, we were able to experience the tournament together, March Madness. From there, I was able to play professional basketball for 9 years, traveled to roughly 15 different countries.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Spain, Ireland, Japan, China, Romania, Estonia, Lebanon, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Hungary, Germany, South Korea. Did 2 years in the G League, which was known as the D League when I played in it. South Bay Lakers. I played for them. They were called the Defenders at the time being. It was the second year that I was able to be a part of that.
Okay.
And
that's an extensive career. So before we kind of get all the way to the end, I always like to kind of start at the beginning. So it sounds like you got a lot of basketball to share, but I want to talk about like that early childhood experience of, before we get the scholarship, before we,
Right.
make a varsity team. What was it like growing up, basketball in your household? Was it like, big with the family, or, what was kind of like your introduction and experience of basketball growing up?
Well, originally, so I was from LA originally, Anaheim. I was born in Anaheim, grew up in Riverside, the youngest of 5 kids, and everyone in the family's just tall. My dad is 6'9", my mom is 5'11". My older sister, Keisha Hughes, 6'4". She played at UCLA, was a center. Kylie Hughes at USC, 6 foot, played at USC volleyball. Ronald, 6'7", New Mexico Junior College. And then Solomon Hughes, who also played at UC Berkeley with me and B-Dub here. So growing up, I mean, to be honest, man, like it was something that was, I would say from the standpoint, exposure was there to me from the jump. With my sister being who she was before the WNBA, was before, the Angel Reese's and Caitlin Clark's. Keisha was along those lines of like, Cheryl Miller, like Lisa Leslie. The game was there for women, but it wasn't there for them like the way it is now. So with Keisha, her being just 6'4", man, it was kind of like she was a phenom. To be honest, man, I always say she was the best person I ever saw play basketball. So I saw the game. I was exposed to the game. The way I kind of went about it was growing up where at Riverside, we played at recess all the time. At University Heights Middle School, played there. I was supposed to go to high school, John W. North, but my mom ended up transferring us to Bishop Montgomery High School, where me and Solomon both went. And, I played Rockfish AAU. That's where I first ran to B-Dub here. The Fish, man, we used to have some epic practices and traveled out to Vegas and stuff. So, the game was kind of like there for me. It wasn't so much forced upon me. Mm-hmm. My dad played in college. He didn't play in high school. Mm-hmm. And my mom was a big supporter of providing us to the practices, driving us there, getting the gear for us, the shoes, and things like that. I will say that, my family at one point in Riverside, my dad put a basketball court in the backyard, a half court court. And so we played on that a lot. And that was, having a hoop in your backyard, like most kids have hoops in front of their houses, stand-up hoop. It gives you that kind of like that, hey, I can go shoot hoops whenever I want.
Yeah. So let me ask you, as a 7-footer, a lot of times you guys grow up and you're tall early. Was that a difficult stage where you were growing up and like trying to get acclimated to the game while you were kind of in this growing body? And what was the early struggles like, and when did it start to kind of click for you, and if there were those struggles?
Yeah, the funny thing about that is, like, I'm 7 foot, but I wasn't always 7 foot. I wasn't born 7 foot, so kind of like being smaller with taller siblings, I learned to really shoot very well, and that was something that I kind of had. And so the growth spurt kind of came when I went into high school. I went in at 5'11", came out 6'11", and during that was like the most, like, the Bambi, tripping over your own feet, can't catch the ball. I would say elementary and junior high, man, was just like just kids getting after it, just a fun time. It was like, pick up basketball. Hey, who's coming in the sweatiest from PE, or like coming in from like just recess time, man, like this kind of action. And I will say, claim to fame, that my 3-on-3 team did win the intramural championship my 8th grade year in University Heights. But the exposure to the game, and it's funny you asked that question. It's a good question. I didn't start playing competitively until like 8th grade. Okay. Like that, like it was Slam and Jam at first. That was at John W. North, and then the Rockfish thing came later on. So my coordination was not there at all. I definitely struggled a lot in high school with it, because growing so fast and kind of being in this weird body. It's funny, man, because when I was 12 years old, I wore a size 12. When I was 13, I wore a size 13. When I was 14, I wore a size 14. And every single year until like, so I wear a size 17 now, my foot grew. So the great thing is, like, Bishop Montgomery was uniforms. So even though I was kind of like flooding, because like I always had we were corduroys, gray corduroys, or gray slacks, and a white shirt. So my clothes never fit very well. It was kind of like a up and down thing. So it kind of got away with that.
Nice. So when did you start to kind of get good? You know what I mean? Or when did you realize you were getting good and started to get attention for basketball? Was it not until you got into high school? Was it kind of before? And then once you got into high school, what was that, that 4-year period like?
High school was great. With Bishop Montgomery, a very competitive team. I mean, they've done well in the past. I think they won state a couple years back. But I would say the Fish, man, to be honest with you, like Rockfish.
Shout out to David Ezra, Mark Meyer.
Yeah, shout out to those guys, man. Let me ask you a question. Do you remember how long our practices used to be at Rockfish?
Oh, yeah,
in Hollywood?
Yeah, it'd be 3 hours. Yeah.
6.
6 hours.
We're 6 hours, though.
I remember 3-hour workouts. So I remember, but we would go Saturdays and Sundays. And if we weren't playing, I mean, all in all, you could be right. I remember going there at least 3 hours on a Sunday, sometimes more. But, some of the best basketball workout and just teaching, at that high school age, I thought it was just great for just preparation for college and beyond. They just did a really good job.
You might have been 3. You might be right. But I'll tell you one thing, man. A lot of guys were in that gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of guys in that gym. So I think the Fish kind of gave me that level of kind of like love for the game, because going to Vegas, doing the summer leagues, those were things that I looked forward to. Yeah. High school, like I said, I was behind my brother, Solomon Hughes, who was a very highly ranked center at the time being. I mean, these were the days of Tyson was my time, Tyson Chandler.
Yeah.
But Solomon was playing with guys, oh, geez, man, like Jason Capono. The O'Bannons were my sister's years, but those were very competitive years during the 90s, kind of around that time. Oh, so Bishop Montgomery was a good exposure for me. But I'll be honest, man, I watched the Bishop Montgomery thing. I was hot as shit. I told everyone I was going to be on the varsity team my freshman year. Mm-hmm. Man, I sat my very first year on the freshman team,
Mm-hmm.
And then my sophomore year, I played JV and really got to a different level. And then my junior and senior year was varsity. But something I talked to my boys about, and I have 5 kids, but I talked to my son who plays basketball right now. Every single year, besides sophomore year, I got the MVP. I got most improved.
Okay.
So that was kind of like a thing of like my level of like growth was there.
Mm-hmm.
And to be real, man, like right now I coach right now at the middle school that I'm working at.
Yeah.
But the patience that some of these guys had with me, like Dave Benazir and Mark Van Murray had with me, you had with me in college, that kind of kept my love kind of going. It grew it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you see guys moving so fast and doing things that you're like, man, I can't do that. I can't catch the ball. My footwork is bad. It's discouraging. You know,
Yeah.
it kind of is different.
Okay. So I want to pause there. I want to definitely dive into your college career, but I want to take a quick break for our sponsors and we'll be right back. And welcome back to the show. Continue the conversation with Gabriel Hughes. We're going to follow up and go back into his college days. Welcome back to the stage, Gabriel. We were just leaving off with high school, and I wanted to kind of go into the college, right? So you ended up at UC Berkeley. Talk about like how that came about. You know, I'm sure there were other offers, other things on the table, but you know, ended up at Cal for 4 years. Talk about how you got there, and then you know that experience, those 4 years for you.
Well, shout out to the Pac-10, which is now the Pac-12, but it's the time being we played it was Pac-10. It's been different, but like I said,
it's nothing now.
It's gone. I think Kisa kind of set the level. You know, Kisa Hughes, my sister played UCLA. She's in the Hall of Fame over there, and then Kylie Hughes went to USC. She was volleyball. Solomon going to UC Berkeley. So the Hughes name was kind of like known. It like my siblings set a really high bar. I was recruited, by a lot of teams, East Coast mainly, Fordham, South Carolina, Florida State, Arizona State, Oregon State, Washington. I really wouldn't want to go to Michigan. That was like I got one letter from Michigan, but it wasn't like a kind of like a big offer of what it was. And actually, so after I left Bishop, I graduated Bishop. I did a 1 year prep school in New Hampton Prep.
Okay.
And I would think like that year of getting me ready, kind of sharpening me up for, I signed with Cal. It's funny because me and Joe Ship, were on the same recruiting trip to Cal. And I kind of knew what Cal was. I mean, I've been in a few games to kind of see Saul get down and whatnot. And knowing that a lot of the Rockfish guys were going there, my recruiting process, man, to be real, was kind of like up in my own hands. Mm-hmm. My dad and my mom kind of at the time being, they were divorced. They've been divorced. But they kind of like let me decide on what I wanted to do. And having played with Saul, knowing you were going there, knowing other guys were going there, man, Shantae was going there, it just kind of made sense because to be real, Scott Beeman kind of made it was like, hey man, like let's keep it going because people knew who the Fish were. Like it was a powerhouse of a AAU team. So choosing Cal, it wasn't hard to choose because being close to home and playing with my brother and being around you guys, man, it was enough for me to decide to say I wanted to go here. versus going away.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
but
oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, well, college, doesn't come without struggle, and I remember my fair share and going kind of through similar struggles with you. So, talking like through that, how was those 4 years for you?
yeah,
What was your experience? What was your take? What made you stronger? And how was that kind of help prepare you for, beyond college?
man, to be real, like it was a wake up call. You
Mhm.
know, I tell the guys now. I walked into college, man. There's Solomon and there's Sean Lampley. Solis came in my same year. You're walking in with the other guys your size, guys who are athletic, guys who can move. And so the speed of the game was intense for me. I love the game. And I think there was a lack of confidence that I had that played into a part of some of my struggles. And a part of kind of like trying to figure out how to get at the same speed of what you guys were doing, to be real. Like my college career was up and down. And I mean, if people Google my name, they're going to see that my stats weren't as big as they were. I think what I was kind of dealing with was like, can I do this? The belief of like, can I get on this floor and just get after these guys, get after the guys from Stanford or Washington. And, I would just say like the ups and downs kind of came from my freshman year where I just gave it all I had. My sophomore year gave more than I had. But Jamal Sampson, shout out to Jamal, man. Jamal Sampson was a monster when he came in. So when Jamal came in as a freshman, the time that I was thinking I was going to receive, Jamal got it and rightfully earned, man, because, it's like the work performance. If somebody's moving faster or is able to do more than you, there's no knock. It just means like pull up your bootstraps and get after it, man. Yeah. So from that standpoint, my sophomore year, what I wanted to do was find something that was going to be different, and I was going to leave. And I had my letter of resignation. I was transferring to Rutgers. I was leaving UC Berkeley. Rutgers had promised me that they'd make me a pro. They promised me that they would let me have it all. And now looking at sports, the business mindset. Mm-hmm. See, I didn't come in thinking like it was a business. I came in thinking like family, like a unit. And we were a family, and from I saw Coach Wills recently, man. I went to the North Carolina game. I saw Coach Braun. We talked, and I saw Wills, man. Thank you, dude, because like you being there and kind of like grooming me. I talked to Braun and said, I understand I was an immature kid. I was trying to figure himself out, but for the most part, man, everything that I did at UC Berkeley, dog, I look back now and like the ups and downs, the not playing, the feeling insecure, the lack of confidence, it made me a hungrier dog. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, at the very end. And it's something my brother told me. Solomon said to me when leaving Cal. Saul said, "There's life after college basketball." And at the time being, I'm not sure what he meant. He probably meant more in the sense like there's like jobs, opportunities. But I took it like, okay, there's more basketball to be played. Yeah. So I just kind of pursued that level of like, Brian knows I can play basketball. Solomon sees me play basketball. Joe knows that I work hard. Like Leon Poe knows that I work hard. Yeah. Rod Benson. So it was a point of not letting this thing die off. Yeah. When people ask me about the NBA, to be real, man, the NBA was never really on my radar. It was something that I knew was there, but it wasn't like this is like my only focus. My focus was just to hoop. Yeah. It might sound weird to some folks, man, but like when you just love the game, like you just love the game. Yeah. So when
I wanted to talk about that for a sec because the NBA, because that's, for most of us, like that was my end all be all. Like I wanted to play in the league. That was my mission. And I remember when it didn't happen, being, devastated, with having an injury and getting so close to a dream and not having it happen. So I commend you because to have that peace of mind, like I wish I didn't have my heart shattered like that. But you did.
What happened to you, man. That hurt me because I remember seeing how, like, as a team leader and what you did for us, man, you and Joe, Shantae, man, like when you got hurt, that hit me in a way like I was hurt. I was hurt. I was like, that's dub, man. Like that doesn't happen. We used to wake up at 4:00 in the morning, listen to Gorilla and ride down to our 4:30 morning workouts. Yeah.
No, I know, man. It was, life changing, but you were able to have a professional career. So let's talk about like after college, how you ended up overseas and, what those years were like. Because everybody's got great stories about overseas,
Yeah.
and I'd love to hear some of yours.
So I went out to I was actually working with a trainer, um, Tony Leonard, and Tony saw the potential that I had and was kind of, put me in different positions to kind of like excel. And so I went out to, I think it was I want to say it was in Kentucky. It was a tournament. And, when you hoop, man, like, and then I try and tell like my athletes, there are basketball players and there are hoopers. I consider myself a hooper. Like,
Yeah.
I just love the game, man. I just love to hoop. And it was like a zero fear, not giving two fucks, man, about like who's out there. And I just got after it. And afterwards, Javier Jimenez approached me, an agent from Spain, and was like, "You want to come to Spain?" And I was like, "Sure, man. Let's get it. Like, whatever you want to do."
Yeah.
So that was my very first exposure. I flew out there. I was in Bilbao, which is in northern Spain. I was there for 6 months, and then I re-injured my back because I had a previous back injury when I was in college, and I re-injured my back. And it's wild because the speed of the game when I got out there, I'll never forget my very first play. He was Spanish. He tried to dunk on me, and he missed it. And this is kind of like how aggressive. Because now I'm playing basketball. Now I'm on the court. Now I'm starting. I'm getting minutes and all this stuff. So like the speed was like fast, and so I was like, okay, so what we doing? And so for me, it was more to be efficient with my defensive presence. But unfortunately, I got hurt, and when I hurt my back, they told me, listen, you're good enough to stay here, but what's going to end up happening is we have to put you on the practice squad. You'll be in lab bronze. There's silver, there was gold, and I was in bronze. They're like, you'll be in bronze, and you can get moved up to silver, but you'll be in the practice player. And I think I was getting better off my injury, and so the time being, the agent that I had before Mark Maymar from Rockfish, he was like, look, you can go to Ireland if you want to. And I did something told me that I needed footage. So, and I needed stats.
Yeah.
Because in practice, you can't get stats in practice. So I headed over to Ireland, man. I flew over there. I was outside of Dublin. I was there for about 4 months, 5 months. And, now obviously like being paid, it was like also, my mindset of kind of like being paid. But, from there, it's kind of like, it became a thing of like, people always ask me like, why didn't I stay in one country? First and foremost, because I had a different mindset. I was more about like being a shark and trying to like just kill everything around me, and almost like the highest bidder was going to give me. If the situation was right, then I would have stayed. At the time being, I did have a family. I was married and I had a daughter, so I was trying to always kind of like, to be real, man, I was like kind of chasing the dollar, but I also kind of knew if I didn't put myself out there and be aggressive with it, then how am I going to get paid? Yeah. And I knew that from like talking to guys. I think me and you have spoken a couple of times. Like, we have to get paid. Like, we're out here on this hustle, man. So,
that was not my mindset early as well. Like, my first initial moves were, how do I get back into an NBA workout or position like that, right? And then I think as years go by and you realize, okay, look, I'm not getting any younger. It's time to just kind of maximize my career. Then it became like, how many different countries can I touch? That are paying well and are good countries to play basketball in. But I used it as an opportunity to travel the world for free, play basketball, learn. And, I still have a lot of connections from people that I've met across overseas that I've done, programs here and with. So it was kind of God sent in a sense of being able to travel the world, get a lot of worldly experiences that I may or may not have had, if I'd have made the NBA. So sounds like you had similar stories and stints. So how long did you play overseas?
I did 9 years.
9 years, yeah. So about the same.
Yeah,
right?
I did 9.
Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing now? Because for those of you who are watching, who may watch the new Fresh Prince, you may have seen Mr. Gabriel Hughes in one of those episodes. So how did you kind of get involved in like, some acting and, talk about some of the things you're doing now that basketball's been?
So after basketball was over, man, like, started working, different jobs here and there. My older brother, Solomon, he played Kareem on the TV show Winning Time on HBO. He was he got casted because they were trying to find the right person for the right fit, and Solomon was able to kind of absorb that role. And I had gone to the premiere with my wife, and we were on the purple carpet at the time being, because it was not real, it was purple. And one of the directors was like, "Hey, like, who's this guy?" It's all, "This is my brother, man." And they're like, "All right, we're gonna put him in the season 2." And here's the thing: people are drinking, and I'm like, "Okay, appreciate you all being like whatever." But no, Solomon set up a workout for me and my two nephews, another one of his friends, that they were able to evaluate and see if they wanted to use, because when I've heard now, and I've listened to different podcasts, like when they cast actors to be athletes, sometimes the realism doesn't quite fit.
Sure.
So I was able to kind of be a part of like this unique experience in season 2 where I played a lot of different guys. I did a stunt for I think I want to say the Blazers. It's when Kurt Rambis flies into like the bench, and like this whole thing, it was crazy. But while I was doing season 2 at Winning Time, I was different background. I was like 7 or 8 background characters, the different jerseys, from the Boston Celtics to the Bucks, the Blazers, I think the Clippers one time. I made more connections with some of the guys that I knew from basketball, like Lorenzo. I can't think of his last name, but Lorenzo's another actor. And so they were telling me like, "Hey, there's stuff out here." And so I had done it was the Clippers documentary about their owner when he got caught up, the Sterling affairs. So I was a part of that. I did a background situation. I was one of the Clippers, because they want to see actual basketball.
Yeah.
Like they're critiquing. And while I was it just kind of sitting there during takes, guy was like, "Hey, tomorrow we're doing Bel Air. We need guys for Bel Air." And I got to know some of these guys. Like, "You want to come tomorrow?" And I was like, "Sure." So the wild thing is, I drove back to Fresno from Anaheim that night. I told my wife about the Bel Air situation, which was the next day. Went to work from probably like 7:30 to like 4. Went home, took a small nap, hopped in the car around 9, drove back down to Anaheim. Got down there, probably later than that. I probably was like maybe 12, because I slept in the car when I was waiting on set. And we get on set for Bel Air, and so the guy that was playing the role, right there and there, it was very tragic. He tore his Achilles right there on the spot.
Oh my God.
Like on the spot. Like so I had rehearsed the takes, I had rehearsed the lines, because I was like they want to see what it looks like. So the way they do is like they want to see how it looks before like they put in the Sun Devils, I guess you call it. Yeah. And so this man, he's a great guy. He does AS Pro. I can't think of his name. It felt bad, man. Like he tore it right there on the spot. And he's not my agent, but the guy that was in charge of I want to say, I think it's called Game Time Sports. They were like, the director's like, what do we do? And he was like, "Hey, Hughes knows it." So they rehearsed it with me twice, and then live camera action, shoot.
Rest is history, huh?
Yeah, rest is history. And yeah.
I was going to say, are you looking to kind of stay involved in that arena? Do you see as acting as something you'll continue to do? Do you think there'll be other roles or opportunities, or?
Yeah, I mean, so I did Running Point, the one about Kate Hudson that was on Netflix. I was able to be a part of that. Right now, the season that I'm in, I'm finishing up my master's right now, and having my family unit. I got 5 kids total. I got one in college. I have a 21-year-old. I have a 17-year-old. My son is 7. My other one is 4, and then I have the 4-month-old. So I would say like the door's open. It has to just kind of fit the right situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm currently involved. Like I'm working. I'm getting my master's, and kind of the traveling back and forth. It's definitely worth it, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know who you're going to run into, and that's how the Bel Air thing happened. The Running Point situation, I was going to come back for season 2, but with the baby being born and, just trying to kind of juggle everything, something that my dad taught me a long time ago is about the scale. You always got to weigh it out, man. Like just if I'm traveling down here, what am I missing up here? You know, and like I said, I got my 7-year-old. He wants to hoop and, like, you know, get into sports. And so I spend a lot of time going back and forth. And Solomon could probably, you know, testify to like the grind of being involved in, you know, Hollywood or just movies or whatever you want to call it. I do know that when Solomon decides that, like, he wants to reopen something, my brother, I'm looking to kind of be involved with whatever he does because it's fun. You know, it's a very unique experience, dude. And it's like you get to meet some of the most amazing individuals.
That's exciting. I would err on the side of caution. That's a wild industry in these times of days.
Yeah. Dude. And at 45 years old,
be careful who you party with and all that other good stuff.
Oh, no. We keep it very simple. There's it's fair action and then on the road or back to the room. But I would just say, like, getting injured at my age, because, you know, when you're doing this stuff and you're doing the roles, you know, it's not the same when we play the Cal. When you have a trainer and you have treatment and stuff, man. Like, I'm my own trainer now. I'm my own, like, you know, therapist.
Yeah. I know those luxuries are missed. I know when I'm playing basketball now and I, you know, do anything, you expect, you know, the carte blanche red carpet of treatment, and it's
not there.
Just regular plastic bag and ice now. That's all you get.
Slow down.
Well, hey, man, as we kind of wrap this show up, I always like to kind of get your advice for the youth on any message you might like to give to young hoopers coming up through your shared experiences. What advice may you have for the next person coming up? You know, the same thing that Solomon told me, man. There's life after basketball in any sport you're doing, man. There's life after any sport you're doing. But if you want to do it, go for it. You know, and this don't allow it to dictate who you are, what you're going to do. But you control that thing. And I train kids like you've trained kids. I had a training session this morning. But what I showed you this morning, are you doing it Monday through Saturday? Yeah. Like, you got this podcast and you out here grinding. So if you want something, like, what's the grind for you? Because if it's not the NBA, it's overseas. If it's not the NFL, it's like maybe whatever it might be. But, you know, it's the nature of, like, I say it with this most, like, loving way, and I'm teaching my sons this: don't expect somebody to give it to you. Like the level of, like, oh, I should. Nah, man, you gotta get back to the old school mentality. Yeah, also grind, like the Marine that we used to work out with. Yeah. Shout out to Andre the Marine, who, you know, Andre the Marine, man. Everybody he touched, a stronger man. Okay, so that dude was intense. Yeah. Well, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. You've been a great guest. I appreciate everything you're doing, and sounds like you're busy with 5 children and being an excellent father and a husband. So that's awesome, man. Well, thank you for coming, and I'll let you know when we move forward on this. All right, Dale. Thanks, man. No problem. All right. Thank you guys again for tuning in the show. That was Gabriel Hughes. Please make sure to hit the like button and use or make comments for us. We always love to hear the feedback and let us know how we're doing. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next show.
He's on his way, he's about to get paid. He's on his way to Hollywood. He's on his way.